Hey guys, this is Andrei, a certified translator and a real estate concierge, and this is another out of many reviews of the headlines, a very much biased non-media report about the happenings in Belarus, about how international events affect us and about how we, in a certain way, affect the international events. I would like to thank you very much for supporting the channel. It's your $5, $10, $20 and sometimes more donations that keep the whole thing going. The links for donations are under the channel. Thank you for staying, thank you for your questions, for your feedback, and let's see what happened through the last week or so. Since originally this all was about COVID and travel, I would start with this. Nobody cares about COVID anymore. There are no masks, there are no regulations, restrictions, and travel hasn't changed much. Officially because of COVID, realistically, probably not because of COVID. The land border is shut down for entries unless you are on business, education, healthcare reasons, and a few other emergency excuses like ill state of your relative or something like this. And flights are only restricted to whatever airports they're restricted. The Turkish airlines are not flying from Istanbul temporarily, but Belarus does. There's also Moscow, but Moscow transit requires having a Russian visa. There's Dubai, there's Tbilisi. They may be pretty expensive flights, so consider your itinerary carefully. Otherwise, there's no self-isolation and PCR is not required because mostly we ruled that the guys coming here are from COVID countries. So COVID is not a problem where it comes to travel, and the rest seems to be the problem where it comes to travel. And I've just had a tourist here, an Italian guy. His cards worked all right. He came via Turkey and flew away without any issues. Sometimes foreigners ask in the groups if the foreigners get any special attention in Minsk or any North Korean stuff. I understand some of the concerns that may be around there, but no, there's absolutely nothing about coming, being, photographing things in Minsk and leaving. So essentially the guy is gone, and I just had the first guiding job in 3 months. That's kind of cool. I'll do my best to be a bit positive. So for starters, breakthrough positive news for you guys in a town called Rasselheim in one of the Emirates. The street, which I understand is really not the main street, has been named after Minsk. So now there's Minsk Street out there. That seems to be it. The more realistic news are the pensions are dropping. Average pension before crisis in Belarus was $250 a month, which is a kind of a survival allowance, if I may assess it strictly from my taxpayer's point of view. And the salaries are dropping as well, having reached some point at around $400. We should again distinguish the capital of Belarus salaries, Minsk salaries. This is the best paying town with IT guys sitting here and everything. And provincial towns and the province where sometimes there is just no job. So people are sticking to any job they can have, no matter how miserable, just to get some cash, no matter how miserable, because otherwise they see no prospect in getting their alternative supplies. Speaking of IT guys that everybody wanted to join before the crisis, now most of the IT guys seem to be on the run. We mentioned Flow Flow app team that is in the process of leaving Minsk, and that's one out of I guess several dozen businesses that are moving out. So on the last minute, the government has cooked up some countermeasures to keep these people inside, including a very interesting kind of semi-draconic thing of increasing the apostille fee for the documents, and to prove that you're a trained this and trained that and you went to school and everything, you have to translate your things into the language of the country you're going to and make an apostille, legalize these documents. They increase the fee for that 10 times. So there's a non-stop queue in the mornings by the foreign ministry, and even the police approach these people saying that their queue is kind of illegal because they're queuing up with no reason, because they start lining up before the office a couple of hours before the whole officialdom starts. And well, such is life. Nobody, God bless, nobody got arrested in that queue yet. Continuing the theme of the refugees and the runaways, I mean in a different theme here in Belarus, from a different angle here rather than in Ukraine. People are moving out. Right now I'm relaxing by the library in some -1. fresh air, waiting for the moving guys to come up to some rented apartment to supervise the packing of some guy. I'm a real estate concierge in a way, in many ways, and from many angles I could be helpful, so that's my job for today. Then I'll be relaxing and enjoying life because there's not much else to do. Only officially the population of Minsk shrunk by some 50,000 people last year. It was 10 million, it was 2 million before that, 9.4 in Belarus from 2019 census. But we can conservatively withdraw 100,000 people that moved out in all directions, including Russia, which you can't really track. So the population is shrinking and Minsk is the most affected city. Not sure how that will help the tenants and landlords, because landlords are having too much supply on their side. There are too many offers for rent, and the tenants, they just don't have any earnings, or their earnings have been substantially cut by the dollar rate increase and by the inflation, which by far is about 10% annually at least, again conservatively. A lot of statistics is not really published online anywhere. And life is becoming more and more fun. Let's then talk about economy kind of fun. Since we have much to do with Russia, lately even more to do than we would like to have, the issues of the Russian economy are our issues as well. Though theoretically Belarusian ruble is tied up to dollar, euro and ruble, but I guess sanctions sever some of those Western ties. And we are badly dependent on the rate of the Russian ruble, which again is below 100 rubles a dollar. The Russian government, the central bank, have introduced pretty steep measures about selling currency to people. So Russians, from my yesterday's conversation with a friend, are shopping for gold pretty much, and I guess many other things. The Russians have fiddled with interest rates. The Russians have promised to bill Europeans for the Russian gas in Russian rubles, which is giving the Russian ruble stability short term. But I understand from the various experts' sayings, and I guess half of the experts are as biased as my charming self, and half of them are not really experts like my charming self. The Russian rate improvement, Russian ruble rate, is very much short term, and it's not going to be there for long term. So this year is going to be full of surprises for us. And since Russia is the top buyer of our economy, they are the top buyer of our agricultural stuff and some industrial products, although the need for that is shrinking year on year, like our tractors and trucks are not really best sellers on the Russian market. The factories here and the salary people are bound to have all kinds of concerns quite soon. However, this is week number 3 after my rather pessimistic original release about economic problems coming in, say, 5 weeks. The economy has obviously slowed down. The shelves in the shops are becoming less and less generous. Price tags are up by 3, 5, 10% in car parts, in stationery like the printing paper. The fun of the month is up by 50, even 100% in price. Instead of, say, 20 rubles a pack of paper, been a while since I last shopped for that stuff, it's now 50 rubles give or take, Belarusian rubles I mean. And it's funny that in the last 20 years we've heard a lot of talking about upgrading the paper, the wood processing industry, but we're not making any paper. That's great. In the recent years, Russians have been retailoring their economy to serve themselves in terms of agricultural products. A lot of things had to be done or redone or reinvented so as to counter the Western sanctions in food supplies in the first line. So their Russian brands are likely to take over Polish, German, Italian brands on the shelves. And from my weekly shopping, I noticed that the prices are up for the Italian olive oil and for other things. In some places, they speak of deficit and price increase for sunflower oil, which is the cheapest, and most of that comes from southern Russia or Ukraine, by the way, which is going to bring some long-term issues to worldwide, essentially. And there are things that have been banned from export from Belarus, starting from apples, cabbage, wheat-related products like pasta and stuff like that. Not sure about sugar, but it has been in high demand lately as well. Some suspect that's just for the sake of homemade vodka. The liquid currency becomes the currency in the hardship times, and we occasionally remember these. Well, actually, we never forget these things. So the things that are getting most expensive pretty fast are meat, dairy products, cheeses, especially all the imported things that are now super expensive at some point. The fruit, because we're not really growing much on top of cucumbers and tomatoes, and obviously it's off season so far. So while fresh harvest or fresh supplies of the new season came at a pretty sharp price year on year, I guess the prices this year are bound to be rocking, and maybe I'll make a report from Komarovsky food market in Minsk maybe in a month, unless they lock me up earlier for all these things. Our beloved leader is meeting up with some Russian fellas in town. The sound of the helicopter out there is the machine going back to the airfield. I guess the meeting is done by now. And speaking of politics, guys, I would like to remind you that since 2014, when all the sanctions were in place, a lot of Western suppliers did ship their stuff to Russia, although it was officially sanctioned. And we can put it for short, the cash matters. Deadline for the gas price conversion, for the ruble conversion for payment for the gas is tomorrow night. And I would like to ask for your opinion about the EU resolve to not pay Russia in Russian rubles. What do you think will happen? Are they going to convert their dollars, euros into ruble and pay for the gas, or is it not going to happen? It seems like the gas reserves of Europe are shrinking by the day, and this may be just a few weeks of byplay. A bit of bitching up, but what do you think will happen? The ruble will become strong again while the Europeans are looking for green ways to replace the gas supplies. Is it actually possible? Is it gonna happen? What do you think? Put your comments down below. It will be very interesting to hear the West European perspective. The most affected industry in the crisis is normally construction, so I guess the large major building projects are frozen down or slowing down in Minsk. Can't say for all the industry, but they're bound to be import dependent. And renovation and apartment shopping seems to be the best time for these things now, because situation seems to be slowing down but not really improving dramatically. So if you were thinking of getting a property in Minsk, prices are going through the floor basically. Some deals are 10 to 20 to furthermore, if you're talking about luxury properties, down. And this is at least the point to be looking for a bargain. And renovation is also a very well timed, let's say, because demand on that has dropped. The offer by the landlords, the offer by the owners, offers are shrinking, and the workforce is forced to reduce their price. Of course, with that, there may be issues with quality, but that's about quality control. That was the optimistic bit to finalize this report, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Ask your questions. Happy for any feedback. Press likes, press dislikes. There's just 1 or 2 guys doing that, by the way. And again, thank you for your help. Thank you for staying with the channel. Comment down below. Shop responsibly, travel wisely. See you in Minsk someday. Thank you. Cheers.